It's all gone Willy Wrongums.
There's been an accident at work. Have you had an accident or a fall at work that wasn't your fault?
No,
Have you been terrorised by a comparatively giant Peter? So much detritus on the table today.
Detritus.
So much gubbins. Gubbins Farm. That's where I met Rachel Stevens. Do you remember when I told you about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Children's activity summer camp kind of thing. They had quad bikes and other stuff.
And Rachel Stevens. She was on Dick and Dom in the Bungalow.
That's where she's famous from.
And she about halfway through, she just sort of vanished when they played a cartoon. When she came back, she was gone because she didn't want to get gunged.
I think that's fair. I don't know that I would like to get gunged either.
It's sort of an infamous moment in the Dick and Dom community.
Where Rachel Stevens said the gunge is a bit
much for me. What are you doing on Dick and Dom, Rachel?
Hello everybody and welcome to the TripleJump podcast. My name is Ben.
And my name is Peter. It's a video game podcast.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Where we talk about video game stuff.
It is, and we do. It be.
It does be. It do
Video
be.
game podcast, it be.
Do
this is not an athletics podcast.
No.
I need to sort of let you know that because some people you've actively poo-pooed the idea of the triple jump even being...
We allowed to say that word. I thought we'd get demonetised, won't we?
Plop-plopped.
Plop-plopped.
Plop-plopped. The idea of the triple jump even being a sporting contest worth existing.
Well, yeah, I think we should do other athletics, not that one.
Big jumps.
Yeah, just the high jumps and the long jumps.
Who can do the biggest jump?
Yeah, not who can do 3 jumps. Two very, very tiny jumps that are basically steps and then a big jump at the end. Don't do that.
I think it requires a great deal of training, but that's fine. Peter will continue to wage his war on the athletics community, but thankfully, the athletics community largely aren't here because this is a video game podcast. Peter...
Yeah, we
got a sponsor today, right?
We have. Me and you both get paid money to talk crap about athletics.
We sure do.
Thank you for the sponsor of today's podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by Nigel West Dickens's syphilis treatment.
I'm sorry?
Nigel West Dickens's syphilis treatment.
So this isn't... Usually we get a sort of a tangentially related video game company to help.
Yeah,
but this time it's
just Red Dead Redemption's Nigel West Dickens.
I see.
Snake oil merchant.
Okay.
And curer of all ails, Nigel West Dickens.
Right.
Have you got syphilis?
I sure do.
Don't worry.
Peter.
Well, lucky you. I mean, I wish I had syphilis because then I could use some of Nigel West Dickens' syphilis treatment.
It's almost worth getting syphilis to be treated so expertly by Nigel
West Dickens.
The West Nile Dickens.
Do you remember the one with the top hat and the moustache?
They've all got him.
Yeah. Well, he can cure your syphilis. Possibly even your TB. We'll see.
Maybe.
But thank you, Nigel.
Thank you,
Nigel, sponsoring this podcast.
How much is the sponsor? How much is the sponsorship deal?
I think we're just getting paid in bottles of syphilis treatment. I don't think.
Okay, well that's a good thing for this guy.
Great,
excellent. Well, thank you, West Nile Syphilis, for helping us out today. We'll plug you again at the end of the show.
Well, I think that's how you get syphilis.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Maybe that's actually not a good idea. Well, if you wanted it, then
okay. We'll plug him good.
We'll get into that. Peter, it's E3. Very soon.
It is.
At the time of recording, it's just a few days away. At the time of release of this podcast, it's already...
Tomorrow.
It's kind of happening already.
Well,
EA did a thing today.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
EA are doing a thing today.
Forgot about that.
We have got so much coverage. Go to our social media channels to find out more, but we will be live streaming reactions to every single one. I say every single one. The big conferences that we all love and care about, like the Microsofts.
Yeah.
Like the Bethesdas.
The Bethany Esdas.
Yeah, the Ubisofts.
Yeah.
The Square Enixes.
Yeah.
And the Blimptemdos.
There's no Sonys this
No
year.
Sony, no Activision. EA are doing a day of live streams where they'll be occasionally dropping in trailers for stuff, but then they don't have a conference to really react to.
No.
Those of you who are asking, yes, of course, our live stream reactions will be uploaded ASAP. So you can sync it up and watch along with us if you want.
And just for the benefit of the people who are, it's a small niche group of people who are both watching this video version of the podcast right now
Yeah.
and haven't watched a video that has gone out on the channel on Friday,
Right.
you just want to very, very quickly address what's on the sort of relevant in the room on the table right now?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My goodness me. That's a very good point. I was just going to do the entire podcast without even
talking
not
about
even talking about
the
it.
weird hat hair thing.
Because we've got a couple of E3 related things to cover this show, but largely it's not that E3 focused, because that would involve, I think, giving away our predictions. That's right, we're doing predictions and punishments, just like our nice friends.
Yes.
Literally outside, just I can see
They're
them.
actually through
They're
this
over
glass
there. I
door.
could wave
You
at them,
can't
but
see
they
them.
wouldn't wave. They probably wouldn't see me, but I could wave.
They wouldn't
at them.
wave if they
That's
did
how
see
close-
you, I think.
Well, that's also true.
They're arseholes.
Because we're in the quarantine tent. The syphilis zone is what this is called now. It's so sickly.
Yeah.
What we've done, and there's a video that went out yesterday on the channel at the time of release of this podcast, listing all of our predictions for the various shows, and the person who gets the least amount of predictions correct has to change their name on all presented videos for a month to, as voted by our patrons, Dick My Chinko. That will be your name. You have to introduce yourself by saying, "What's up? I'm Dick My Chinko from TripleJump." And also, they have to wear the douche hat.
The Dick My Chinko hat.
The Dick My Chinko hat for God, there's so much stuff on the table. I can't even get my hand around my microphone for an entire month. So that's why that's there, just as a reminder that that is looming. And we'll do a video and announce who's lost next Friday.
I sort of feel like, as each day goes by, I kind of feel like more confident that I'm going to win, but also more convinced that I'm going to lose. I don't know.
I'm not entirely. I have no idea where I stand. Some of your predictions are like so heavily rumored already.
I know.
And one of them was just confirmed yesterday.
Yeah.
So we've had to redo one of your predictions.
Some of them are completely, probably not. Like some of the ones that aren't under my crazy wild predictions, they're under my just bit of an outsider.
Maybe
are actually pretty ridiculous. Like the idea, because I've not to go too far into this. I've predicted that at Microsoft they're going to be sort of doing a little bit of something, a little bit of moniker about their new console. I have now sort of remembered that they are on record saying there's going to be like 13 games, first-party games at E3 this year,
right?
From them. So that's a lot of time. They might not be showing them all, but that's a lot of time they need to spend showing games at their conference. I don't think they're going to have time to also go, by the way, here's a 10-minute chat about the Xbox 2.
Yeah.
So
it's only the second one we've ever done.
That's very unlikely.
Shut up. I don't know.
We'll see.
It's going to be a total mystery, but watch along with us if you can. Full details on, as I said, our social media if you want to see what time we're streaming, what time we're releasing stuff. We've also got other E3-related lists and coverage and stuff going out throughout the week. So please check out the channel for that, youtube.com/Team TripleJump. First up, Peter, we've got a question here from Christian Sturt.
Yes, we have.
And he's a very kind patron over at patreon.com/Team TripleJump, which is where we get all our questions from for the podcast. What does Christian say?
Christian with a K says, Chaps! Hope all is well. First, thanks for the fantastic content.
You're very, very welcome.
I have what seems like a trivial question, but I can't find an answer anywhere. Heavy Rain, Life is Strange, Oxenfree. What is the collective name for these games? I'd describe them as platform games where cutscene decisions impact the outcome. But that's not very catchy. That's probably why I stumbled over the word platform there. Also,
it's a very hard word to say.
What is your favourite decision-based game? Thanks. Much love, Christian.
That's a great question, Christian. They're all technically adventure games. I looked up, I Wikipedia'd all of them just to see what the actual clinical description of them was. And Life is Strange is an episodic adventure game. Oxenfree is an adventure game. And Heavy Rain is an interactive drama/action adventure game.
I was going to say these three are actually quite different in a way. Like obviously they all have the heavy sort of decision tree sort of thing going on there. But Heavy Rain, for example, I was going to say that's sort of an interactive movie almost.
Yes.
Pretty much, that's kind of what it
Very
feels
few
like.
moments where you can just walk around the environment. Yeah. I think adventure game is the best way to describe them purely because they all feature that in their description anyway. But equally, if you look back at the first adventure games like Tales of Monkey Island and things like that, they were far more open. This is just sort of a natural progression of the genre where they're far less open now, but they've got a far tighter narrative experience.
You're able to do more kind of interesting sequences and cutscenes and stuff if you know that the gamer, the player is going to be funneled through this moment. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can see that even in Telltale's series with The Walking Dead, for example. The first season, there were quite a few sections, usually 1 or 2 per episode, where you were there was just downtime where you could walk around and talk to people and interact with stuff and examine things. And then as it went on, from the second season onwards, I haven't played them.
Right.
But by all accounts, and this was part of a no-clip documentary about the death of Telltale and talking to various employees and how sort of the design structure of the stuff they were making was changing. That stuff was stripped right out.
Yeah.
So it was more and more about get people through the story, action, all the time. And that's not a bad thing.
No, yes, it's good.
But there's definitely a balance to be struck there.
In terms of like favorite decision-based game, I'm not much of a decision-based adventure game sort of player, really.
No, hang on, that's not what it's called. It's platform games where cutscene decisions impact the outcome, but that's not very catchy.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not much of a platform games where cutscene decisions impact the outcome, but that's not very catchy player, really.
Right, okay.
But I did play the Detroit demo at EGX, and I thought that was super fun. And for some reason, I've inexplicably not yet played Detroit, even though I thought that was a lot of fun and an interesting concept. Also, it's kind of different. It's sort of loosely relevant. Some of the walking sim games, if you like, they obviously have quite a linear path, I would say, through the world.
Yes.
You know, you're going to be walked from A to B. But you know, quite often there's some interesting like dialogue trees, at least, to do in those games. And I really enjoyed Firewatch, which is a very pretty game, and also everyone. Oh no, that's not one at all. I'm talking about that later.
Which one?
Everybody's gone to the Rapture. That's for a different question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that is also a walking sim, though.
It's a walking sim, sorry, but that's not decision based. No.
Right? No, it's not. But you can. That one's an interesting one because you can walk all the way around the entire village, which will take you ages. And then walk all the way back if you want, all the way back to the start. Like it never blocks anything off from you. But yeah, that one's it's such a good game. That
it's a good game.
Do you have
no decisions in that really? You just sort of go and listen in on people.
Yeah, the archers.
Yeah, I'm talking about that later.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Exciting!
For some
Everybody's
hot takes on
the 2014 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you don't play these games very often, but
no.
Can you not pinpoint one that you're particularly intrigued by? Is it Detroit then?
Detroit is intriguing, but like I say, I've not played it. I have played Hidden Agenda with you.
Yes.
And I thought that was super fun. And that's got an extra little thing in that it's a multiplayer decision-based cutscene decisions impact the outcome, but not very catchy game.
Yes.
But you also have, like, as the name implies, your own little hidden agenda. So while as a team you're all trying to sort of reach an outcome, you might also have a little secret sort of, but make sure that by the end of chapter 2, the gun has been fired by the person who shouldn't be firing the gun, or something like that.
And then you get extra points.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I love these kinds of games. All three of those. Heavy Rain blew my mind at the time when it came out. I loved that game. Oxenfree was unbelievable. It took me a while to play it. I played it last year.
Very pretty.
Life is Strange. I've only played season 1, but I also really enjoyed that. In terms of my favorite, though, it's probably one of the Telltale games. I mean, Mass Effect technically counts as a decision, a game where you're having to make decisions and things like that.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of that. Mass Effect 2, one of my favorite ever games. But it would probably be a Telltale game, and I'm just going to have to go with as good as, The Wolf Among Us and so on, as good as they are. Tales from the Borderlands was just so good. Just striking the balance between not having too many engine issues, which weighed down a great deal of the Telltale library, but also just being really fun and really funny and just great.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite one, I would say, anyway.
Yeah, if you broaden it out to something like allowing Mass Effect, I think Fable could almost count as well, and
absolutely.
I really enjoy Fable. So yeah, if you go out just to kind of RPGs with a morality system, then you can get pretty broad. But in terms of the more more closed down, cinematic, more linear experiences. I think Hidden Agenda was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Detroit was very good, by
Yeah.
the way. That was shockingly good. Peter, it's time for a section that some people might not understand because it's incredibly complicated.
Okay.
What are you playing?
What?
It's time for what are you playing?
What
which
are
is a
you
section
playing?
where we stare at the camera for 5 seconds after asking, "What are you playing?" But we don't get a reply, so then it turns back to us. Peter,
Yeah.
what are you playing?
Well, as well as continuing on the Spodermans, which I've talked about in previous podcasts.
How are you getting on with that?
I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. Super fun. I just can't stop swinging everywhere.
You catching? It's a mad fan of swinging over here.
Yeah.
Are you catching thieves just like flies? Look out!
I'm catching pigeons.
There is a lot of
dastardly
pigeon catch.
Yeah.
There's a surprising amount of pigeon play in Spider-Man. I will
fun.
say.
Yeah, I
pigeon
like
play
pigeons.
is also something you can do when you're swinging.
What?
But that's how you get syphilis. As well.
I understand. But I'm not talking about that today
No.
because in my love streams on Tuesday.
Sorry, you're going to have to repeat that for people who might not understand our vernacular.
In my live stream.
Yeah.
On Monday, not Tuesday. I said
Herbert
Tuesday.
Lovestroms.
Yes. I played Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, the Philosopher's Stone.
on PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
Was it?
Yeah.
I have no. We were talking about that on the way into the office the other day when you said you were going to stream it.
Flipendo.
I never finished it. I got all the way up to
yeah.
the chess bit at the end, and for some reason I stopped playing there.
But you knew that you were right near the end.
I know. I don't know. Honestly, I can't even remember the reason I stopped. It might have been that the chess pieces were too scary. It might have been that it was too complicated.
They're a bit scary.
Or it might have been that I just didn't know how to play chess at the time, and I didn't want to keep doing it and failing over and over.
It's kind of knockoff chess there because every piece can just move one square adjacent.
Oh, okay.
And in any direction.
No excuse then for however you're old Ben then.
Yeah.
For,
not
for,
really.
for giving up. Okay.
Slightly scary.
Scary in the film,
Well, yeah. Yeah, pretty.
but it was the CGI more than anything else. It was
Right.
unnatural and weird.
Well, that game, the PS1 game, is unnatural and weird in many ways.
Yes.
Just not necessarily in the same ways.
PS1 Hagrid.
PS1 Hagrid.
MVP.
Not even. I mean, Hagrid's the go-to, but Neville. That really took me back. Really, just how bad Neville.
Neville?
Looks. He's just been. His whole face has been squished down. You know that John Cena gif where his
Yes.
face gets smaller.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think the viewing public seemed to enjoy it.
Good.
I think
Can't wait for part 2, Peter.
Well, I'm getting to that. And I think one of the things that people most enjoyed was the soundtrack. And Jesus, I kind of want to just go to my desk and listen to it while I'm doing my work today.
Is that good?
Yeah, really nice.
So it's not the film soundtrack, is it?
No, it's not. It's arguably. Oh, careful. It's arguably better. No, maybe not. That's not. It's less iconic, of course, but it's certainly on par. It's by Jeremy Soule/Soul. We
Ooh,
sort of had a debate
we know that
about
one.
this on. When I came back up to the office after doing the live stream, I was talking to our new editor James, and he was saying Soul. I just said Soul because it's got a magic E on the end, but I don't know if that's.
I know how it's pronounced.
Do you actually?
But I'll never tell.
Oh, okay.
It's Jeremy Soup.
Oh, Jeremy Soup. Delicious Jeremy Soup.
Breathing that Jeremy Soup.
Who does the Elder
Campbell's
Scrolls games.
Jeremy Soup.
He does. That's our sponsor for next week, Jeremy Soup.
Yeah.
He does Elder Scrolls, Guild Wars, Dark Alliance, loads of fun games. So yeah, that was great. Part 2
Yeah.
for my live stream. I just couldn't get it to save.
Because you were emulating, right?
Well, yeah, but the emulator should, number one, actually be able to simulate or emulate, I suppose, the idea of a memory card. You can actually just,
Usually you can.
yeah, wasn't doing that. Also, save states just weren't working, and I was 2 hours into the game. So I messed around for ages after the stream had finished, couldn't get it to save. So what I will either do is literally just sit down in my own time and play 2 hours of it again and then
Right.
continue. Or we'll just move on to the Chamber of Secrets, which I've not played properly on PS1, but it's the same engine, it's the same weird faces, the same music. So it's basically the same experience, but it'll all be new to me, which is arguably even better.
Yeah, that'd be fun, won't
We'll
it?
see. Ben,
Interesting. Yes?
what are you playing?
I've been well, I mean, I got the Platinum Trophy in Trover Saves the Universe.
Oh, yeah.
There's a fair bit of content about this now on the channel. There's my live stream where I played an hour of it. Turns out, not a great game to live stream. Bit hard because the characters don't shut up and you can't really get a word in edgewise. Edgewise. There's also a quip scope about it where we just sit down and have a chat about it for 20 minutes. It is from co-creator of Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland, and he does the voice of Rick and Morty. And as you know from his almost improvisational tone, of his delivery of lines, that's basically what the whole game is. It's hinged entirely on dialogue and characters and ridiculous concepts that just sounds like it's made up as it goes along. But instead of having a rough outline of a plot where he just sort of riffs on it and then the animators have to pick up the pieces, this time they've pretty much just had to build a game around it. And as a result, and it's also because it's a VR title, the gameplay is very simplistic. It's just whack stuff, interact with stuff, go to the next bit where another weird conversation happens. If you're a Rick and Morty fan, as we are, there's probably something for you here. But if you're like Peter, as we discovered earlier in the week, and you're a Rick and Morty fan who finds it sometimes a little bit exhausting, all of the over long periods, weird, going a bit weird over here, then maybe you won't like it. But if you do like that, there's a good chance that you will play this and really enjoy it.
I don't mind the weird, but it's when it's clearly just being made up in the recording booth. You know, that's when it's a bit. And again, like I don't mind if that's peppered throughout an episode across 20 minutes, just now and then. But but when it's just I've watched a bit more gameplay now since we talked about it.
Yeah,
and I was surprised at literally the fact that it is Rick and Morty's voices. I know you said that in Quickscope, but I thought you meant, you know, like there's characters in Rick and Morty who sound a bit like Rick and Morty, but they're not quite the same.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Poopy Butthole sounds a bit like Morty, but no, it was actually just Rick and Morty's voice.
Yeah, there's also someone who just sounds like Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Well, yeah, of course.
But yes. Oh, we allowed to say Poopy? Ploppy.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Ploppy Butthole.
Ploppy Bum.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone, if you were upset by that, and that was not our intention. Yeah, it's got a budget price. You can play it in or out of VR. If you're a Rick and Morty fan, I'd say it's worth playing. We were very fortunately gifted a code by Squanch Games, because of course that's what they're called.
Squanch? Did you just...
Squanch? Squanch?
Yeah.
He says I'm squanching in here.
Squanching? I thought he says squanch. He's called Squanchy, isn't he?
I don't think there's much difference between the way that we're saying it.
Squanch and squanch.
Yeah.
Yours sounds like it's like... Yeah, I don't know.
Two first names again, all over again over here. Anyway, they gave us a code. We've disrespected them now, so we won't get another one. Not that we wanted one. No, it was actually... I really enjoyed it. I got the Platinum Trophy in it, so I played a lot of it. I saw all of it. And if you want to find out more, look at the coverage we've got on the channel. Yeah, you can find out there. Peter?
Yes?
It's time for another question.
It is.
This comes from Xavier Romero, who asks, there was a new Pokemon Direct. Though I'm not a fan of the franchise personally, that doesn't mean that other people aren't. That's true. That's a true statement.
It's a good opening to any question.
What does the TripleJump Pokemon trainer, Ben, think about what has been revealed of Pokemon Sword and Shield? Sorry to leave you out, Peter. I just know you're not a fan as well as myself.
That's fine. Me and you, Zav Rammies, we'll just go and talk in the corner while Ben just...
That's me in the spotlight losing my religion. Yeah. So they've finally showed off some gameplay and stuff, and it is the first probably proper open world 3D Pokemon game that we've ever had, because it's on Switch. You can now control the camera for the first time ever, which sounds ridiculous, but you know, even when the game's got a bit more 3D, you could only view from certain angles.
Yeah.
It shows you walking around an open plain, an open field. Looks a little bit, maybe a little bit barren. A little bit barren there. Okay. And there were also some bits where you could see the Pokemon. So Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu.
Yes.
They were the first proper Pokemon releases for the Switch, rather than, their handhelds like the 3DS and so on. And that was fantastic because it blended Pokemon Go with the traditional Pokemon formula.
Games,
in a terrible way, in that it was horrible to catch Pokemon because you had to use motion controls,
right.
and I hate that, and that can always go away, and thankfully that's not coming back. But it was great in that you could actually see the Pokemon walking around in the wild grass, so you knew what you were getting into, which just makes sense. There were certain bits in here where there were grass, and you couldn't see Pokemon, and occasionally it just seemed like a random encounter would happen in the trailer. But then there were other bits where you could actively see the Pokemon walking around. So I don't know for sure, and the answer might be out there, but I really hope that they do continue to have the Pokemon available, walking about there where you can just encounter them. I think that's a logical evolution, and it was a really good addition to Eevee and Pikachu.
Maybe they're sort of blending the two, because I think it makes sense to mostly be able to see things walking around in the long grass in terms of applying it to the real world. You know, if there's a big sort of badger wandering around a field,
sure,
you can probably see the badger, right?
Yeah.
But occasionally, an animal is going to do a pretty good job of hiding away from the big scary human man or woman. Maybe there's also just the odd random encounter where you don't see it coming. You know, maybe it's just a bit of both.
See it coming.
Yeah.
They've also got now Dynamax Pokemon.
Whoa.
Where you can occasionally go massive, huge giant Pokemon.
Yeah.
And all their moves are crazy. Now, I haven't really played too many of the recent Pokemon games. I played Sun and Moon, and they had these special moves that you could do. I just didn't find myself using them very often. They were just weird tweaks that weren't really necessary. And in the same sort of negative tone, what a negative ninny I am.
Negative Nancy.
Whoa. Poor Nancy. Leave Nancy out of it.
Yeah, lazy Susan.
Whoa! Poor Susan's as well. Take that, Susan's.
Lukewarm.
God, you are ruffling many feathers, my dude. I don't want any more new Pokemon. Please stop. Please stop with
No,
the
they
new
won't
Pokemon.
ever stop. That's never stopping.
I don't want them. That's what was so nice about the last ones. I realized I might be in the minority. But I don't... 250 was enough for me.
I think 150 was enough.
But I liked Gold and Silver, and the addition, some of those Pokemon were crap, but the addition of them made sense. But every new Pokemon game, there's 100 more, and some of them are just the worst.
How am I supposed to catch them all?
I don't want to catch them all. If there are going to be the older Pokemon in there, can we just have an option maybe where it's just the original 150? I just don't care about the new Pokemon. I get the idea of having 3 new starters every game because that's fun, and they're always well designed. But I don't... They showed off a sheep Pokemon. It's just it's a sheep Pokemon.
Everyone's already talking about how much they love it as well.
Of course they are, because it's fluffy and it's... I don't understand. I don't want to catch any more new Pokemon.
You're probably right, actually. Maybe what they should do is introduce 3 new starters in each game. Because then you're in the game.
You having a starter? You guys having a starter?
I think I might just have a pudding. So
I just have a pudding. Yeah, I just have a rice pudding.
A pudding Pokemon. So 3 new starters, and then maybe just half a dozen sort of cool, super duper legendary ones that maybe are sort of end game stuff in that game.
Yeah, sword and shield Pokemon in this case.
But you don't need another, what would that leave? 135 other filler Pokemon in between.
No, you don't.
75, whatever.
It's looking great. I'm definitely going to play it. I've always wanted a 3D open world Pokemon game, so I'm just going to shut up and play it. But I'll always be a negative ninny about it. So we'll see. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah.
Oh, do you feel that?
That feels a bit odd. A bit strange.
Hang on, that's my phone ringing. It says it's time for weird news.
Hello. Hello.
Weird news. It's welcome back. You join us as weird news. It's weird. It's time. Peter.
What?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's weird news.
I couldn't hear you.
It's time for weird news.
Right. Yeah. I've got a weird news here.
That's weird.
It's on my weird phone news machine.
Okay. I'm going to prepare mine as well. Don't, if you're watching the video, don't think we're not interested in what's going on. We are. This is work currently.
You on Tinder? No, he's not.
Excuse me. I don't have Tinder installed.
No. Bed.
Yes, Peter.
Weird news just in.
Yeah.
Slightly
just
weird.
right now because it took a minute.
That gaming handheld with a crank.
Yes.
Asked a Queer Games showcase to change its name.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to say all of that again. None of those words made sense.
That gaming handheld with a crank.
Yeah, Playdate.
Yeah, that's apparently they've
So what's this from?
From
Sorry,
Vice.com.
Okay.
They haven't put Playdate.
that
They've put
weird gaming
that gaming handheld with a crank.
Okay, that's Playdate.
Yeah. Asked a queer games showcase to change its name.
Right. In what sense are we using the term queer?
As in, like, sort of LGBT.
LGBT. Okay,
the
cool.
Q in
right.
LGBTQ+.
The only acceptable use of queer.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, the developers behind the upcoming Playdate quickly backed off their request, but not before completely stepping in it.
Oh, no.
Right.
Some context, please. What's going on?
Playdate
That's a handheld.
No, it's not. Playdate is an LA-based video game showcase with a lineup of creations described by its organizers as feminist, queer, weird, and wonderfully experimental.
Okay.
It's been going on for years, and the 2019 event wrapped up earlier this year.
Okay.
It's the kind of place where off-kilter game makers actually produce the kind of art-driven, commercially unviable work that many people claim to wish there was more of.
Okay.
It's a little indie scene, really.
Cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
As of last week, Playdate also happens to share branding with something very different. An indie gaming handheld from Panic. That thing with the crank that's been lauded for how quirky it is.
Right.
Sounds a bit cynical from Vice.com.
Yeah, come on, Vice.
That would otherwise be unremarkable if it were not for several emails Panic sent to the organisers of Playdate, the event, arguing... And they've only used a small quote here, and I want to read you a longer quote because the start of this sentence, which they don't include, is incredible.
Okay.
This is from Playdate the console to Playdate the event. When our dumb thing launches... Good start. When our dumb thing launches, I feel there's a very real possibility people will start confusing your thing with our thing, and that will really be annoying for your thing.
Okay, so they're coming as sort of like a self-deprecating, like they're still asking them to change the name, but they're saying, I'm really sorry how inconvenient it is that our stupid thing is, it's probably going to annoy you, so you probably have to change your name.
When our dumb things. So ideally, I think it'd be best if your Playdate either tweaked its name, i.e. the Playdate game show or something more unique, they've put in brackets. Not that, but that. Not that.
Yeah,
not
but that. But that, please.
Or otherwise came up with a totally different and unique name. And if we decided that was a good solution, I would make sure we compensate you in some way for your time and the pain in the ass factor. Really professional email here.
This is really weird, isn't it?
Panic to Playdate.
Suddenly now I'm kind of not as excited about the Playdate handheld because they've almost stumbled. People are like, this is a great idea, as we were. This is a great idea. This is ingenious. Wow, how quirky and strange. And then the developers are like, yo fam, it's your boy making the dumb box. Can you please change your name, idiot?
So
thanks.
My understanding is, and I don't want to have to scroll through the whole article to confirm this, but I did read this before we came in, and I think what's happened is that Playdate, the handheld, has actually filed a trademark, because of course you probably would do.
Yes. We know all about that.
Presumably, we do. Presumably Playdate, the event, didn't have a trademark filed for their event. I think they were just sort of doing it without a trademark.
Right.
Or they had some other kind of...
So they're kindly asking them
protection.
would you kindly change your name before we have to legally
serve you, yeah. Like you say, that's
Still
an all too familiar...
Such a very weird way of going about it, though. Is there a response?
Essentially... Panic co-founder Cable Sasser,
what a name,
published one of the emails he sent to Lawhead, who are behind the Playdate event.
Yeah.
In the email, Sasser doesn't outright demand Playdate change their name, but does think it'd be best if it tweaked its name.
Okay.
And then, sort of going against what we suspected, Sasser did actually tweet then saying, I never ever intended to pursue an actual legal route. I never would have done that, but I can see why it felt that way. So I think now they've kind of just decided that the two Playdates will coexist.
That's such a bizarre... What a bizarre situation to get yourself into.
It is a bit of weird news there, isn't it?
That's super weird.
Lawhead publicly responded to Sasser by discouraging people to trash what Panic was creating, but hoping Sasser saw this as a moment to realise the position you were coming from and learn from that.
That's a very mature and
dignified and gracious.
No, they absolutely have. Wow. I'm a little bit less excited about, and this isn't from a sort of reactionary. Whoa, hang on. they're going after the gay event. That's not how, as bad as, a light as that puts them in. It's for me, it's more a case of these guys just refer to their new thing as dumb.
When our dumb in like a fairly a professional email.
People are going to pay
from one
for that
to another.
and they're now referring to it as dumb.
Really weird.
That's super strange.
Ben, have you got anything that's also pretty weird in the new age? Sorry.
Yeah, I certainly do. This I actually found this myself, but then when I was looking through the podcast questions to get stuff together, Chef Mikey with 2 E's also posted about this on our Patreon request for podcast questions. So shout out to you, sir. This is from Polygon. Xbox deodorant and body wash coming this summer.
Oh, of course. This is weird news, but I've already seen the headline like 3 times this week, and it's just sort of become normal in my head.
Freshen up with the scent of Xbox. See, I only found out about this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Microsoft is planning for its upcoming E3 presentation, but there's one surprise product that we know will be hitting store shelves this summer. It's not a game or a console, but instead a fragrance line called Lynx Xbox.
Ooh.
Everybody loves Lynx. It's for 13-year-olds, and that is it.
Thank you, Grandma, for my body wash set.
Thank you, Aunt, who doesn't know me very well.
Yeah.
I'll put it with the rest of them.
With the 3 wallets that I own. Have you been bought lots of wallets before?
Oh,
I have.
I haven't had a wallet for a while.
No, not when I was younger, though.
Oh, right. Aftershave was another one. Not necessarily aftershave, but just some sort of
face
smell.
Face juice.
Face juice, delicious smelling face juice. Microsoft has partnered with Lynx to create a scent that captures the essence of Xbox.
No one wants that.
And can be purchased in body spray, deodorant, and shower gel forms. So the essence of Xbox, my mind immediately goes to, and the same would be true for PS4, perhaps, or PlayStation. But for Xbox, it's certainly Mountain Dew and Doritos. PlayStation have notably partnered with both Taco Bell and Subway in the past.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know what the essence of those smells like. It's probably the same thing you smell when you walk into a Subway. The smell that they pipe in.
I don't mind that smell. Some people hate it.
Would you want to smell of it?
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I think essence of Xbox is, like you say, I mean, I wouldn't have said Doritos. I'd have said, like, if you include the worldwide Xbox fan base,
right,
it's sort of Cheetos and BO, really. Not that there's no BO in the UK, but there's no Cheetos.
Beatos.
Oh no.
What does Xbox smell like? The official description says that Lynx Xbox is a fresh scent of pulsing green citrus, featuring top notes of kaffir lime and winter lemon, aromatic herbal middle notes of mint and sage, and woody bottom notes of patchouli and clearwood.
You get a woody bottom when you eat too much Subway, don't you?
You do. You definitely do.
All they've done is choose all the green things and put them in.
Yeah. I'm going to read it again, though.
Okay.
Lynx Xbox is a fresh scent of pulsing green citrus featuring top notes of kaffir lime and winter lemon, aromatic herbal middle notes of mint and sage, and woody bottom notes of patchouli and clearwood.
I think we should get Butterfield just to do the descriptions of all products going forwards.
Yeah.
Syphilis treatment. Syphilis treatment available now for your woody bottom.
Oh no.
Containing a range of natural essential oils, the Xbox Lynx range comes with a sleek new look and features a body spray, deodorant, and shower gel, so it is legitimately a gift set.
Yeah.
Grandma will be buying that one for you.
They're
Keep
probably
an
more
eye
likely.
out.
That's actually not bad sort of branding, really, because when Grandma is buying...
He likes Xbox,
yeah,
doesn't he?
exactly that. Yeah.
Or she. I can't remember what it is.
No.
That certainly sounds more appealing than what one might originally expect from a console-themed fragrance. Lynx are known as the creators of Axe in the States, for those of you Axe, for those of you American listeners. This collaboration makes more sense than it first seems. Brands like Microsoft seek to become lifestyle products, with players integrating them into aspects of their life beyond the couch. These products will be available in Australia and New Zealand from July onwards.
But not the shower. Yes, life beyond the couch, but I do not associate technology company, Bill Gates' computer company, Microsoft, with having a wash.
I don't know what you're talking about, Peter, because you won't need to have a wash when you have Xbox Lynx. You can just stay on that sofa all day. Remember, Lynx, it doesn't fix the problem, but it does mask it and make it worse.
I want some sort of Kinect add-on where if you stand there, it recognizes your body and then just an arm comes out of your Xbox and just sprays and scrubs by magic.
Can Kinect do that?
Yeah.
Maybe HoloLens.
Yeah.
That's what they're working on at the moment, is just a way to make gamers less smelly.
Via hollow technology.
Via hollow technology.
They look less smelly.
I tell you what, HoloLens technology, virtual technology to make someone smell better would probably be just as effective as Lynx.
I think HoloLens technology to make someone smell better is just body spray, isn't it? That's just what it is.
Probably true.
Pretty much.
In many ways, Lynx is the original HoloLens. They've been doing it for decades. Anyway, let's move on, Peter. Those were weird, weren't they?
Very weird.
Question 3 is from Rexy Adar.
Adar.
What they got to say?
With the amazing storytelling in games nowadays, is there any game that has made you feel extra emotional? I mean, the whole of The Last of Us is just a punch in the gut, but are there any others? Thank you, Rexy. It's a good question.
Thank you very much. Have you got any, Peter, any games that upset you?
I mean, if Rexy hadn't said The Last of Us is an obvious choice, so don't say The Last of Us, Peter, I would have said The Last of Us.
I'm going to say The Last of Us, Peter.
But yeah, I've got a couple more. When the spoilers for Shadow of the Colossus, a game that's been out for 15 years or something, when the horse fell off the bridge. Aggro. Yeah, that gave me a lot of aggro, really, when the horse died.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, Peter. Gravity is the real enemy
of the horse. It's the natural enemy of the horse.
Natural enemy, the natural predator.
Yeah.
The horse has no natural predators apart from gravity.
So. Yeah. It's a shame, really, that your one and only friend, really, throughout the entire game, dies saving your life. That was pretty rough. Also, bit of a wildcard entry.
Whoa!
Harker. Portal 2, you wouldn't necessarily go straight there, would you?
No.
But when you end up in the bowels of Aperture Science and you learn about like Carolyn and what's it called? Something Johnson.
Cave
Johnson. We're done here. That's actually a pretty tragic thing.
Sad story.
Makes you feel sorry for GLaDOS. I also feel a bit sorry for Wheatley, who's just been bullied all his life.
Yeah, he was created to be an idiot.
Yeah, he was a tumour, is what GLaDOS describes him as. An idiot tumour.
Poor Wheatley.
So that kind of got me going a little bit with the oh no.
Wheatley.
And it's arrived. Everybody's gone to the rapture.
Made you a bit weepy, did it?
That's the thing. I was about to say, no overtly sort of tragic, sad, crying moments. But I think, as someone said in a recent I think it was in a list that I did, actually, but it was written by someone else, so I thought it was someone else's opinion. The British sort of locale in that game makes it just feel a bit more realistic and immersive, I think.
Hits a bit close to home.
Just hits a bit close to home. And, like I say, no true tragedies in that game, but just sort of wandering around listening into people's lives is a bit like listening to the Archers, actually. Maybe I should listen to the Archers, is what I'm saying.
I think that the stakes in the Archers are significantly lower.
Oh, no.
There's not so much. Are they
You're
all
not up to date on your Archers.
Oh, God.
There's an alien invasion.
Oh, man.
All the birds are dying.
Oh, that's such a shame.
It's horrible.
Yeah, that's a good show. Everybody's gone to the rapture. It's just lots of very human stories.
It's very human, yeah. Which is weird, given that you never see any of the humans. You just see sort of ghosts.
You see remnants.
Yeah, little firefly bits of energy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would, going back to Mass Effect 2, I know, it has, the last bit is called the suicide mission.
Oh, yeah.
And you build up they've got this strong bond, you and your team.
Yeah.
And you all love each other.
They've got a pretty strong bond.
You've been working your ass off to do all their loyalty missions, and you love them. And every time you go back to the Normandy after a mission, you walk around the entire ship to speak to everybody, just in case there's a new piece of dialogue. That's what I did every time, every single time. And then some of them die.
It massively affected you.
It sure did, Peter. And the suicide mission piece of music that was composed as well for that game is very... It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts to listen to. It makes me sad. There's one game that I can pinpoint, though, that has actually made me openly weep. And that is Valiant Hearts.
Oh, yeah?
Which was the Ubisoft-published World War I game, published, I think, for the 100th anniversary of the start of World War I.
Yeah.
And you follow a few characters, two of whom are related. One of them is the father, who is French, called Emile, and the other is Karl, who's his son-in-law, who's German, and they both get conscripted to fight for the different sides, and the whole thing's pretty sad anyway. I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously war is horrible, and the world wars were really horrible.
Yeah.
And there's something about World War I and II that really tickles my sadness gland. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, apart from obviously how obviously
Horrible,
sad it is,
yeah.
but there's something about it that really I find upsetting on a fundamental level. Like documentaries, I find they upset me. They're upsetting to watch.
No, me too.
And the last bit of Valiant Hearts, and I don't want to spoil it, but the last bit, it's just got this really simple, the whole soundtrack's amazing. It's just this simple piano track for the whole thing. And the last bit is basically him, Emile, this is, walking to his execution by firing squad,
Right.
because in the heat of battle, he refused to follow basically a near suicidal order from his commanding officer, and he hit him with a shovel and accidentally killed him.
Oh.
And so he was sentenced to death, and it makes you walk along the screen to where you're going to be executed with this music playing in the background, and the narrator is reading the letter aloud that he has sent from his prison cell shortly before this to his daughter, basically saying,
Right.
you know, I'll always love you, and you know, I hope you're okay, and that you have the life you deserve, and all that sort of stuff. And then it just ends with like a cut to black and the sound of
God.
a gunshot, and
Guns.
that absolutely destroyed me. That bit just wrecked me, and I've never had a game sort of emotionally affect me like that before.
Well, it's funny you say it, you sort of made me think of something. I can't even remember what game it was. I remember being
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
it probably was that. I think I was maybe like 10 or something, and I was playing, I think, round someone else's house, just a World War I or II game. I don't even know that, but I just have this really strong memory of you have this squad that you fight with all the way through the game. It's not just a bunch of generic soldiers with all the same faces and voices. You know, there's different personalities and stuff. And there were a few levels into the campaign, and you're all having a chat, and you're all sort of saying like, oh yeah, well, you know, well, we're doing well. We'll be home soon, or the war will be over soon. And then one of your friends just stands up, and then his head just gets like blown apart,
Jesus.
and there's like a sniper on the other side of the street or whatever.
Is it
And then
Band of Brothers, or
I can't. Yeah, it might have been Band of Brothers. It could have been a Medal of Honor, possibly.
Yeah.
Although you don't tend to have a familiar squad in Medal of Honor games, or not the old ones anyway. But and I remember thinking the worst part is not only like has my friend who I've like grown a bond with just been shot, but immediately after just like, you know, battle stations, like everyone take cover. We need to now take out this sniper. There might be more people around. You can't like just sit and mourn your friend. Obviously afterwards they're able to, but like in the immediate aftermath of watching your comrade get shot, it's like, no time for, are you okay, man? Oh, let's give him a good burial. It's no. Everyone get to cover now. We need to do our job. And
It's brutal.
It is brutal. Yeah.
It's brutal. There's so much to be said for good writing in that regard, because I have played so many games. The most recent one was probably Metro Exodus at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Where they try so hard to make you care about the people around you, and it's just so poorly done, poorly executed. I couldn't care less, and some of them die sometimes, and you know, you have these, you know, funerals, and you're all gathered around having a drink, and it's like, I feel nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm an emotionless husk. I know games can make me sad. This is just not doing it very well.
Yeah.
And so when a game gets it right, there's really something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that, because that was a sad question. Thank you very
sad.
much, Rexy, for that. It's time, Peter. It's huge. God, what's that coming over the hill? Is it a discussion?
It's even bigger for me because I'm so small.
Wow. time for the big discussion, Peter. E3.
I've got a question here.
E3.
A really big one.
E3.
From probably a very big person.
E3. Two people. E3.
Oh, I see,
E3.
yeah.
But if they were on each other's shoulders, they would be a big person.
Well, I think
E3,
even separately,
E3,
if they're able to ask such big questions, I think they're both big. If they're on each other's shoulders, they'd be enormous.
Giants of men.
Finley Carter asks, I'm slowly counting down the days until we get to see Cyberpunk 2077 at E3. So with this in mind, are there any particular games / developers that you guys are excited to see this year? Are you also looking forward to Cyberpunk 2, or is it just me?
Cyberpunk, I think, is pretty much a cert to appear at Microsoft's conference tomorrow at the time of release.
And I'll also read just the next question. Hamigas or Hamigas says, what's your favourite E3 rumour you've heard but don't believe?
Well, let's start with Cyberpunk. Peter.
Yeah, let's.
That hour-long or however long it was demo that they showed last year, maybe?
You mean the one that was definitely full of kind of scripted moments?
Oh, absolutely, the entire thing, because it just played out like a movie.
Yeah, it did.
It was unbelievable, like regardless of what the end product is. Whether the rest of the game's just done in paint, I don't know. But I was totally gripped by that.
Yeah, me too.
And I am very excited to see practically how that game actually works.
Yeah, I'm interested in like the world itself of that game because it's very Blade Runner. Thank you. Yeah, it's very Blade Runner looking.
Harrison Ford.
And I don't think we've really had an open world game set in that kind of familiar looking cityscape, except also quite futuristic.
Deus Ex kind of, but those games were great, but they weren't CD Projekt Red.
No, exactly. It's going to be a true current gen exciting open world experience, and I'm stoked for it. So yeah, you're not the only one, Finley, who's excited for that. Are there anything else we're excited to see, games or developers?
I'm really looking forward to the Avengers game. That's probably my big one. I mean, it's difficult because we've talked about it before. We're PlayStation boys by and large.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to Microsoft's conference more than any other, really, just because there's going to be a lot of third-party stuff that we'll both be able to play. But I always really looked forward to the PlayStation conference, and it's sad they're not there. We've spoken about it before. It makes sense for them to not be there if they've got nothing to show. But in terms of, I would... If they were there, my answer would be just the whole PlayStation conference. I can't wait to see what they're bringing. But Avengers and, other rumoured things sound interesting, but we'll get to that in a minute.
I'm excited for EA's Star Wars, which I know, whether you count that as E3 or not is a question. But
it is, yeah. Jedi Fallen Order. That'll be out on Saturday, that trailer.
It will, yeah. So today, time of release.
Yeah, we might have already seen it. And also, by the time this goes out, our good friends who continue to baffle us, THQ Nordic, they've announced that they'll be giving news about 3 beloved franchises that are returning. That they've inexplicably bought because they own all the licenses now that people forget about. They were going to be announcing them over the course of 3 days. The first on Wednesday and the last on Friday, and the first one on Wednesday was SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, I think
which is apparently quite a big deal.
Yeah, this is totally... We were talking about this. This is completely passed us by, but it sounds like people absolutely love this game.
Yeah.
So they were losing their minds that a remake is coming for that. I don't know. We're recording on Thursday. I don't know what the other two are going to be. There are rumors one of them might be Time Splitters.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then hell yes. But if not, then poo.
Yeah.
I mean, plop. Sorry.
It's funny that, like, the THQ potentially announcing Time Splitters and EA doing some Star Wars stuff. I'm basically more excited for things that aren't on the main stage.
The conferences.
The conference stage. I don't know. But I'm excited for it all, really. It's always a fun few days. And I don't generally stay up and watch it at the time, but we will be doing that this year. So
we will.
That should be fun.
And you can watch along with us. More details at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Ham Michaels, our good friend Pat, who works over at Gearbox, he sent us some really lovely stuff. recently.
Yeah.
That was amazing. A signed copy of Borderlands Game of the Year edition. A new friend who he's not here, is he? We should have put him out here. He's on Peter's desk at the moment.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And
also Duke Nukem Forever.
Signed Duke Nukem Forever.
Signed.
Copy as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that. Favorite E3 rumor you've heard but don't believe. I've put together a few, just a few rumors I got from a couple of different websites. The first set are from Game Informer. Rare's Banjo is coming to Smash Bros.
I mean, that's my favorite because I would get a point for that in the predictions.
It depends. It's annoying, isn't it? Because I've also said that Microsoft will do something with an old Rare franchise,
Rare,
but mine's at Microsoft's
yeah.
conference and yours is at Nintendo's conference. So
it might be a mutual thing though. Maybe at Microsoft they'll be saying,
the return of a Rare thing. Tune in on blah 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 on Wednesday to find out more.
Or they might both be doing something with Banjo separately. So he's going to Smash Bros, but to tie in, they're also doing another Banjo-Kazooie or something, which Microsoft might announce. So we might both score.
We might both get a point there.
Yeah.
Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami will announce something at E3. So he's been working on the Evil Within. That's what his focus has been. Evil Within 1 was fine. Evil Within 2 got better review scores.
Right.
What could it be? What could it be? What could it be?
Could it be the Evil Within 3?
Well, that would be unexciting. Well, not unexciting.
That would be boring.
Unoriginal, I'm always excited for new IP. Actually, I think that's the thing that that really gets me the most excited at E3.
There's space for it. Kojima was going to be doing that Silent Hills, and then he stopped. And Resident Evil is picking up steam again, and there's a lot of great indie horror games and stuff. But there's a gap there.
I've seen people rumoring that Resi 8 might be announced. I think it's a bit soon for that, but
yeah, I would say so too. I mean,
I believe that.
I'd almost rather they confirm that. God, it was only last E3, wasn't it, that they confirmed the Resident Evil 2 remake was a thing?
Yeah, well, technically, Resident Evil 7 came out this year. It was early this year, but it was this year, wasn't it?
Resi 7?
Yeah.
The one in the house.
Sorry, not Resi 2, yeah.
Yeah, Resi
2
was January.
Just the most recent number before 8 that I could think of in my head. But the most recent Resident Evil 2 game.
Only came out a few months ago.
Yeah, January.
And it was amazing. I would gladly take a CG trailer confirming they were doing another remake. Because I was going to say because clearly that's less work than doing an original game. But no, obviously there's an immense amount of work that goes into that. That was a stupid thing to say. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. What else we got, Peter?
Fable 4 might be revealed, apparently. I was reading something yesterday about Fable 4, which is that I can't remember if this is like an official word from someone on the team or if it's just a complete speculative rumor leak thing. But Albion is gone, apparently, which is like the game world from Fable.
Right.
There's something about different planets. Time control will be a major gameplay factor. Sounds bizarre.
It does.
And I don't think I like that. But
Lionhead's gone as well now.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. The original developers, headed by Peter Molyneux.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'd be fools not to do something with the Fable license if it's theirs, but God knows if it's going to be anything recognizable as a Fable game. From Software working on a game with George R. Martin. We've spoken about this before. That would be very exciting. Lots of people are basically saying, yes, this is happening. Maybe at Microsoft's conference.
I mean, I believe this. The question is, do you not believe it? But I believe that one.
Yeah.
It's just whether we actually see it at E3 or not is the question.
Yeah, we might get a CG trailer. And From Software have done... They've released games in concurrent years before. There was Dark Souls 2, then Bloodborne, and then Dark Souls 3, each following each other. That was a terrible sentence. Each a year removed from one another.
Hello?
God, I can't even speak. Help!
Well, I said
me.
Resident Evil 7, and I can't stop thinking about it, and I feel really bad about that, so... I just did 8 minus 1. It was 7.
7.
That was that game. Anyway,
that's the one that released this year.
Yeah.
Remember when I played it in VR? At your house.
I was thinking of
2 years ago.
I was thinking of Resi 2 in my head. Like the images I had with Leon Kennedy in the Raccoon City police station. I went, yep, that's Resi 7. That one.
That is what that is.
Microsoft plans to reveal its new console. I would also get points for this, but the more time that passes, I just don't think this is going to happen.
I would get a point for this as well. It's one of
Yes,
it's one of my crazy predictions that
You're
they'll
right.
just say, anyway, here's the next Xbox. What? Watch Dogs 3 is known as Watch Dogs Legion. This was one of your predictions, right?
Well, that it was set in London, UK.
Yeah, that's pretty much been concrete confirmed.
It now seems to be.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Peter gets a point. So the new one, Watch Dogs Legion. The thing that struck me as weird about this is that the leaked description, mentioned Brexit by name, and I have no issue with that, but it just seems weirdly provocative in a way. Like Ubisoft would think better than to just say it's in post-Brexit Britain and everything's buggered.
Ubisoft
it just seems just a little bit they're trying to incite some kind of firestorm.
They've been very vocal recently in the past couple of months about how we're not political, by the way. We know things look a bit political sometimes, but we're not. It's just incidental. And they're saying, Watch Dogs are set in a post-Brexit Britain and everything's gone to crap.
Yeah, it just seems a bit tone deaf given how that is just dominating life in the UK at the moment, and how there is such a split between belief systems regarding Brexit. It just seems like too much of a risk. You could still set it in London like now, or even in a few years' time, and just say, the surveillance has been scaled up in light of recent terror attacks.
City.
It is,
So it still works.
In light of knife crime and recent terror attacks and things like that. I just feel like bringing Brexit into it is just gonna piss a lot of people off, and some people will say, good, be pissed off, but I just think it's gonna bite them in the ass, and that's the only reason why I doubt this. Maybe less now, because lots of people have said it's true, but that's why I doubted it originally, because it just seems weird that they would just go all in on that.
I also feel a little bit like they're making an entertainment. They're making a piece of entertainment out of our actual real life misfortune, in my opinion. I think Brexit, is going to be a bad thing, and the idea that it's like, let's make a game where Brexit happens in London and it all goes horribly wrong. It's like,
it sounds like an indie game you'd get on Steam.
Yeah, it does. Like Papers, Please, or something.
Yeah, it's mad. Anyway, so that's the thing that's rumored. What else we got, Pete?
Avengers details leaked. So obviously we know that Avengers is going to be there in some form or other.
Yes.
But there's some specifics that people are talking about. Customizable heroes. It can be played in single player or co-op multiplayer. Team power combinations, things like that. And the world will change over time.
Yeah. Intriguing, but we'll find out more.
It's all pretty believable.
On Monday night, early Tuesday morning for us, Monday night for everyone else. Finally, from Game Informer, the last rumor here is that a new Darksiders game will be hinted at. This is, of course, owned now by THQ Nordic. Darksiders 3 came out and it got like 70s. I don't think it sold very well. There wasn't a lot of hype for it. I think, they're massively overestimating how popular Darksiders is. Yeah. Because they released remasters as well. That was one of the first things they did, is that they remastered the first two games. And do you know what they called it, Peter?
What did they call it?
It was called Darksiders War Mastered Edition.
Oh my god.
They didn't remaster them. They war mastered them.
Help me.
The worst. Absolutely the worst. But again, people liked those games when they came out, but I just think it's just a franchise that has no steam behind it. So if they announced another one now, it would be like, really?
I think they're well made. I think they look good. They play pretty well. They have an interesting idea behind them, that it's all quite biblical. You've got the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. You've got lots of angels and demons from the Bible, but played out in a big, action-packed, quite gory game.
Yeah.
But I just think there's something about the delivery. I think it might even just be the visual style that I think is a bit bland, or it's got that kind of sense of, it's got quite a big scale in that, like, you walk into a room and you're like, oh god, no, like,
now I've got to kill 20 enemies.
Exactly. And it's like enormous, and you're like, oh, there's all these places to explore. I've always felt like that about Darksiders and certain other games as well, where you're like, this is well made, but
yeah, I know, I get that. I think they could do. THQ Nordic, they make some weird business decisions, and clearly there are fans out there for Darksiders. If you are, let us know in the comments. But I don't think anyone would be particularly blown away by that announcement.
Yeah.
Next, we've got a couple of predictions or a couple of rumors brought to us by IGN. There's only a couple because the rest of them were covered already.
Okay.
First one is that Ubisoft may reveal Roller Champions. We talked about this in the predictions video.
We did. I don't know if I've read anywhere that there's like a hint that it will be at E3. There's certainly been leaks about just the existence of the game, but there's still a question mark, as far as I'm concerned, over whether they will be bringing it to E3 or not. So,
right.
Yeah, it's up in the air.
Yeah.
But might be fun. Looks like it could be an interesting game based on one screenshot, sort of box art thing, splash screen.
One bit of art.
Yeah.
Ubisoft could be working on its own subscription service. So I think this is going to be a bit like EA's EA Access and games with gold and stuff like that, maybe. It's an optional thing that people can buy into if they want.
Yeah.
And I suppose more choice is better as long as it doesn't affect people who don't want it. And as we've seen from EA, sometimes it can. You saw all the charts and the spreadsheets with the pre-orders for Anthem.
Yeah.
Because if you get the EA Early Access version, the EA Access Early Access Pre-Order Deluxe Digital Edition, you get to play this many days early with extra Javelin suits, and it's like, just stop. You're splintering your player base.
Yeah.
Way too much. So as long as they keep it sensible, I don't see why this would be that surprising.
I think Ubisoft like to be quite forward and cutting edge with these things, and although, like you say, they wouldn't be the first to do this, I think they're quite open about. They like the idea of sort of cloud gaming and going a bit less physical, more digital all the time, and so maybe a subscription service ties into that a little bit. It's like, I think the people are talking about that there might be some Stadia crossover with Ubisoft at E3 because we know that they're sort of doing a thing with Stadia. They were at the reveal, I think. So yeah, that kind of makes sense.
It's true.
The Witcher 3 is allegedly getting a Switch port.
Could the Switch handle?
That's what I wonder.
I don't know. Switch is a powerful little thing, but Microsoft are apparently working with them, aren't they, to create a more powerful Switch? So that could just be that. But there are some leaked adverts that have The Witcher 3 on them, with bundled with the Switch and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how likely that is, but those are just some of the rumors that are out there at the moment.
I brought my own answer to this question.
Did you?
That weren't in your notes. That wasn't in your notes.
Okay.
What's your favorite E3 rumor you've heard but don't believe? Assassin's Creed is soon to be announced, and it will be set in a Viking world. I'm not saying that I think that won't happen, and that's a bad idea. They would never do that. But I don't think we should believe Assassin's Creed rumors at the moment. I think it's just too early. And I think anything that's coming out about, it's set in a Viking world, is just someone's gone, what eras of history are left over?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? There's like a caveman one that they could maybe do, a
Yeah.
Viking one. What else? They've done
Greeks, they've done
colonial America, they've done Egypt.
done Rome,
Yeah, they've done sort of Holy Land, biblical times.
Renaissance.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a big world and a lot of history, but in terms of quite iconic,
Go to Japan or something.
I was going to say maybe sort of a Japanese thing. That's probably the other good bet. They've done Victorian England as well.
They're running out. They're running out.
They are desperately running out. So
yeah.
Viking seems an obvious choice. It's just I don't think that's necessarily come from an inside source. I think someone's just guessing.
Right.
So yeah, I don't necessarily pay much credence to the idea that it's going to be soon.
Coming soon. Well, there we go, Peter. If you want to find out more about what our E3 predictions actually are, you can go watch our E3 predictions video, which is live on the channel now. Reminder that the loser of the predictions has to wear this hat that you can see if you're watching the video. To describe it for the podcast listeners, it's one of those sort of golf hats with a visor, but then out the top it's got hair. But it's like sort of douchey, spiky hair.
It was meant to be a bit more frosted tip than this, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
We bought it online. I'm getting off.
Hair just floated off it.
It not necessarily as advertised. Also, you have to change your name to Dick My Chinko.
Yes, you
That'd
do.
be good.
Yes, you do. And introduce yourself by saying, "What's up?"
What's up?
It's Dick My Chinko from TripleJump. Anyway, Peter, where can they find us if they want to?
Everywhere at Team TripleJump. That's our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel. We're also on social media, Twitter and Facebook, Team TripleJump. Patreon is Team TripleJump, where you can submit questions for the podcast. You can get all kinds of rewards like Worst Games Ever early. We've got a Discord there with a special Patreon Discord room. The Discord itself is bit.ly/Team TripleJump. And the website is triplej.mup. And if you put /shop on the end of there, you can buy things like this and this and this and that.
Brand new shirt. Available now. Released just this week. It's a Barbara Piss shirt featuring the artwork of Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie. It's wonderful, and you can go and buy one if you like. I'm wearing it. You can't really see it on the video because there's lots of stuff in the way, but it is available.
Last but not least, for those of you watching the video version of this podcast, you can get the audio version at play.acast.com/s/TripleJump.
Triple flump.
Yeah.
That's true. That's where you can go for that. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can do at that Peter Austin and at confused_dude, and on Instagram at that Peter Austin and at Ben Potter 20. We do lists every Tuesday and Thursday. That will proceed into E3 week. There'll be at least one E3 list going out, as well as hello.
Someone's blending
Some sort of
something
blending thing. It's probably not picking up on the microphone. No. But there's also, we're doing our first long form list that'll be going out, and it's probably too soon, for people to have listened to this beforehand, but it'll be going out tonight on the channel on Saturday night. That's every E3 ranked from worst to best.
Wowza.
Every single E3. So if you want to watch that, please do. It'll be available pretty much now, I'd have thought. Streams every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We will probably be skipping them this coming week, just because we're doing a lot of streams, and we'll be in the office quite late, so that may not be possible. But usually that's where we do them. Worst Games is fortnightly. No Worst Games this weekend, but there will be a Worst Games next weekend. And if you're a patron, you get it on Friday. And if you're not, you get it on Sunday. And the podcast is available every Saturday. Next Saturday's podcast will be all about E3, so keep an eye out for questions, or us asking for questions if you're a patron, because we'll want all those E3 questions if you got them. Finally, leave a review on iTunes or wherever it is that you listen, because it helps, I think, algorithms maybe.
That leaves just enough time to thank you for listening /watching. Thank you, Ben, for being here.
Oh, my pleasure for being here.
Thank me for being here. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Peter, for being here.
And to thank very much our sponsors. Oh, what's that? Do your syphils hurt? Have you got Illis of the syphils?
Yeah.
Don't worry. Why not have a nice sip of Nigel West Dickens's syphilis ointment?
Yes.
Or is it? I don't know if it's for internal use.
Do you consume an ointment?
I don't know what syphilis actually is. Really, is it a skin thing? It's like a knob? It can be a knob thing.
I'll show you. It's very much a knob thing.
But I think you can get it elsewhere as well.
Syphilis of the bottom.
Thank you, Nigel West Dickens, for curing syphilis and sponsoring the podcast.
And make sure, if you want to get yourself a vial of what was it, the West Nile disease, Nigel's disease powder, you can do. He's just outside. Just open your curtains. There he is. He's got his wagon there.
Yeah, triplejU.mp/syphilis. You can get a free sample.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll be back next weekend, and we'll hopefully see some of you at 9 p.m. tomorrow, probably just before 9 p.m. Sunday evening. On YouTube, where we'll be live streaming. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.